Welcome to the Building Texas Business Podcast, where we share stories of leadership, innovation, and success from business leaders who know what it takes to build great organizations. Building Texas Business is brought to you by Boyer Miller, providing counsel beyond expectations. Learn more about how Boyer Miller helps businesses navigate opportunity and growth with clarity and confidence at boyermiller.com. Now, here's your host, Chris Hanslik.
In this episode, you will meet Janice and Bobby Jucker, owners of Three Brothers Bakery and self-described king and queen of disasters, who have managed to build their business through resiliency and managing through difficult times, as well as being memory makers who happen to be bakers. All right, well, I'm excited about today's episode to have Bobby and Janice with us from Three Brothers Bakery. So please, let's just start off. Just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what the company's known for. Okay, we have our order. Ladies first.
Okay, I'm Janice Jucker, co-owner of Three Brothers Bakery. I married the guy with all the dough. And I'll let Bobby go next, and he can tell you a little bit about the bakery.
Bobby Jucker, co-owner of Three Brothers Bakery with my wife. My family started Three Brothers Bakery here in Houston in 1949. They were bread bakers. The bakery has been in my family for 200 years this year.
Wow.
They had a bakery in Poland. They learned the bakery at a very, very young age. There was a strike in Poland, and my dad and his twin had to drop out of school and learn how to do the bakery. They were 10 years old. Then when he was 16, 17, the Germans came, and my dad escaped and went to what's now Ukraine, was Russia. Went to go work in a coal factory and a coal mine. Got black lung. Woman brought him back to health, and went to go work at a bakery in Russia. He didn't have any money. He was living on top of the oven, no shoes.
Burlap
sacks for his shoes. And his mother sent for them to go get him, what we call coyotes today.
Okay.
The third time they found my dad in this bakery. So let you go, your mom wants you to come home. And they left. Germans came into that town when the sun came up, rounded up all the Jews, shot him in a shallow grave. So my dad turned himself into the Nazis when he came home. Again, the short version. And he was in a work camp for 4+ years.
He was in 8 work camps.
Wow.
The most incredible part about the three brothers is they had a sister who was in one of these camps, and she married the head Jew at this camp. So she got a really good job in the office. And the Germans kept such meticulous records. She found her brothers, and she forged some signatures and had her brothers brought to the camp that they were at, where she was at. And 2 of them were almost dead. My dad tells us the story that his twin was in such bad shape that when they did roll call, they would pick him up, put a mop in front of him so he could hold on. They would grab him on each shoulder, hold him up, and then once roll call was over, they would put him down and sneak him away.
Hide
so
him.
He could rest. So, after my dad got sent out to another camp, he was in charge of waking everybody up. And he was late. They didn't give him an alarm clock. You stay up and you wake everybody up. He was late. He overslept. They said,
one time
through this cold, wet mud until we tell you to stop, or somebody's going to get shot, killed. So my dad rolled through the mud
for an hour,
and it affected him through his entire life. He could never really sleep. He always slept with one eye open almost.
Man.
He was in charge of that, so he woke up early and the German guards were gone. And he found some wire cutters, and he cut the gates open. It took that first breath of freedom. And here comes the Russians with all of their snacks and goodies for all the POWs in this camp, and they've not eaten anything. So my dad was so sick he couldn't even eat anything. These other people that ate all this food, they just died right there. He said he's watching them just die.
Wow.
So they sent my dad to the hospital, and after the war, the sister moved to Houston, and the three brothers were coming here to go to Colorado Springs, Colorado. And the sister writes them and says, no, come to Houston. The streets are lined with gold. So they come to Houston. And they start Three Brothers Bakery. This group of Holocaust survivors, they were already working before they got here.
Sure.
So the tailors were making clothes for people on the side. My dad and his brothers were baking on the side.
And selling on the black market.
So that's kind of when the three brothers really kind of started. And then they went to go work for a company called Hanky Pilot, which became Kroger's. And my dad tells me the story that this place was so hot that they were working, that they were literally making the bread on the table. And he said it was 106 in this warehouse, and they were sweating in the bread.
Nice salty bread. Salty bread. Yeah.
That's probably why the bread tasted good. So they said, we can do this on our own. So they there was a bakery right across from Beth Israel, which is on Holman Street in La Branch. It's part of HCC now.
Okay.
There was a bakery there called Mashcot's Bakery, and they bought it from them. They spoke no English. They didn't know anything. They didn't realize that you need more than one parking space to survive in Houston.
They had one.
They had one parking space. So in 1955 or 55, they moved to Alameda, and they started doing really well.
In Sophomore.
And they started doing really well, and they saw the Jewish population was moving away from this area. So they were following the Jews. And they moved to Braeswood, where we are currently today.
The beautiful Braes by it.
Right next to this river behind them.
Right. This beautiful river.
Flooded us 3 or 4 times.
And I'm sure we'll talk more about that. Yeah.
So it was, so that's kind of how the bakery started. Now, me, that was my babysitting. So when my mom wanted to go somewhere, she would drop me off at the bakery, and she would leave me there. So I kind of learned stuff at a very early age.
Just being around it.
Just being around it.
Yeah. Well, that's an incredible, obviously, story, the family story. And you're clearly the oldest business that we've ever had on the podcast. I mean, 200 plus years is amazing.
And we're probably the oldest people that have ever been on the podcast.
No one's keeping track of that, Janice. I don't think so. Maybe top 5.
Thanks.
But then, obviously the story of the family and moving over and all that is to say it's compelling is an understatement. But yeah, let's get a little more into maybe the current generation of leadership, which is 2 of you. I know you maybe grew up in the bakery, but that was not your first profession. So tell us a little bit about, I guess, how you evolved from, I think, being in the energy business to becoming a baker.
So I went to college and got a petroleum land management degree, and I was ready to go work in the oil patch industry. And in 1983, the bottom just fell out of the oil business. I really didn't want to go to Houma, Oklahoma to go work.
All right.
And I had one of my friends was working there, and he basically said, come, I got a job for you. Yeah. And I said, no, there's no women there. There's nothing in there. I don't want to go do that. So my family said, hey, you already know this business. We need you. Come work here until, something comes up.
And he's
said,
been
okay.
a temp ever
So
since.
temporarily, I've been at the bakery for 42 years.
That's great. What about then you, Janice? I mean, obviously, you didn't start working, I know, until much later after you were married and another career, but then what brought you into the bakery? And
so I always say out of everything bad comes something good. So I was selling multi-million-dollar communication systems to the oil patch. And when Katrina hit, they were all hit. So I couldn't make my quota because they're trying to regroup at that time. I got fired. Yeah. And so at that time, we talked to our accountant, and he said, okay, now's a good time for you to go into the bakery. So that was in 2005, right after Katrina.
Okay.
And been there ever since. And ironically, my great grandmother and great aunt were bakers in Russia.
Okay.
It was Ukraine. But when I came to the bakery, women didn't work in the production area. There was one woman that worked overnight, but it was a man's world, So which is fine. So I've been more behind the scenes. And in the beginning, I helped run the front, the counter area. And then in 2009, after Hurricane Ike, we went to a dinner and we met a business coach. And he came and he said, I'm just going to talk to you. Bobby's like, I'm not going to buy anything. Okay. 3 hours later, we had signed up and we learned 2 valuable lessons. Work on, not in your business. And we're terrible managers. So we took the money we were paying the coach and we hired someone to run the business. And we worked diligently to work ourselves out of jobs because we learned that your business is more valuable when the owners don't do anything,
right,
really, other than just say, drink coffee. And
it's a great point that not all entrepreneurs understand and get, because the business is the baby, right? And to let someone else raise it while you watch it can be challenging. So I want to kind of maybe go a little more there. I love what you said. I think it's true.
That we're terrible managers.
Well, that part too. I'm going to let that one go. No. But the work on the business, not in the business, is a very powerful mindset to get around, because it does take you out of the day-to-day to do it right. So, I mean, I guess tell me, how did we evolve? How did you evolve and get over that hump to feel comfortable that you were doing the right thing?
So let me say, so we went to a seminar, and one of the speakers was a professor that I had at UT who became the head of the MBA program at UT. And we went and talked to him, and he basically told us that when you're ready to get out of the business, this is what happens to small businesses. They get dinged so badly because you're so important to the business. And we decided that we were going to work ourselves out of the business so that when we do decide to do that, we don't get dinged like what he's talking about.
Yeah. So
that's kind of how that evolved. So go ahead.
It all started really though with that business coach. And then Bobby read about this program in the newspaper, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. And you told me to apply for it. Okay. And he's really good at the baking and the mechanical, and he's really good with his hands. I'm good at paperwork. Okay. Yes. So I was the natural person to apply. And so it was an 18-page application. I mean, you have to be good at paperwork. Seriously? Now it's down to 8, I think. And so I applied for the program, and I got in 2012. And I remember there were 20 of us in our cohort. And this program, it's funded by the Goldman Sachs Foundation. And they, the whole goal of it was if we can train 10,000 small businesses and they would add an average of five people, that's 50,000 more jobs in America.
Oh, wow.
And so they teach you, this is not how they describe it, but they teach you how to be a real business. Okay. Because we fake it till we make it, a lot of
Sure.
us.
But we're a firm believer here at this firm, entrepreneurs and, privately held companies who we represent, that's what is the engine to our economy, right?
It is.
And so I hadn't heard of the Goldman Sachs program, but
Oh, really?
I love it. No.
Oh, gosh. So we can do a whole thing on just that. So anyway, I did the program. And you have a growth plan. And so my growth plan was to add a store. And when we add a store, we're adding 8 to 10 jobs. So since then, we've added 2 stores, but our business has grown. So I think we had 37 employees when I did it. Now we have 75. So we surpassed the 5. And there's different modules. And there's a sales module. There's a finance module. Okay. I have a degree in social work. I have a master's in consumer affairs. And I didn't speak the language of business. And so we had to take a quiz on financial stuff. There were 20 of us, 19 flunked. The only person that passed had a degree in finance. So then we had to go to after school tutoring in the program. So we would work on it. And it took a long time for me to learn that, not just in the program, but over the years. And, so that was really important because now I know the language of business. I can look at a P&L, I can look at a balance sheet, I can determine if something's worthwhile. And I think a lot of small businesses, you get into something because you're passionate about it. You're passionate about baking. Well, there's a whole nother thing. You got to know about the numbers. And then the other really big thing that I got out of it was how important the people are.
Yes.
And there's a module called It's About the People. And so they ask, well, tell us about your corporate culture. I'm like, we're a small business. We don't have a corporate culture. And then I was like, oh, yeah, we do. It's just toxic.
There's a saying, right? Is whether you have a culture, whether you know it or not.
Right.
So you better get on top of it.
That's right. So in 2012, that was 2012. So I was like, let's turn this around. And luckily, the gentleman that we hired to run the bakery, he's amazing. And if it had been left up to me, it would have been really, sorry about that. If it had been left up to me, it would have been hard to change that. But he's really good. And now it's about the people, and we have a 401k, we have health care, you get paid maternity, you get a car seat, just all the, a bunch of little things.
Free donuts for the kids.
And make sure you go to your children's assemblies or, those are things that are important.
Well, I would say that, you mentioned this a minute ago, another hurdle for entrepreneurs is they typically start out of passion without maybe business experience. Mm-hmm. And it's easy to fail because you're not paying attention to business fundamentals. So you either have to learn it or hire someone that has that skill set.
That you trust.
And that's a big one too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes can be made there. We see that a lot with clients. And the other thing though is, and I think most people that I talk to get there, obviously people at different times and stages, but once you figure out that it's really about your people, that's the key to the kingdom, right? Because that's who's taking care of the product or the customer or whatever. So if you're not taking care of them, they can't take care of what's going to propel your business.
It makes me feel good that the people that work for us are memory makers. They say they like working for us, and in 2012, I'm not so sure that anyone would have said that. I don't know though. But when the pandemic hit, a lot of my small business friends, their employees were asking to be laid off because you made more money on the unemployment. Not one person at Three Brothers Bakery asked, not one.
Kudos.
And that made me realize, I don't know when the change happened. That was 7 years after I went through the program, but it happened.
Well, I think cultures evolve, right? And so there's probably not a date where it's like right then, but if you start doing a lot of little things right over time, it just happens, right? And you do wake up and you look back and go, that was 7-8 years ago. I don't know when it happened, but it was somewhere along that journey now the challenge is to continue and
Mhm.
perpetuate it, right?
Mhm.
Nurture it, which is finding ways to continue to take care of your people.
I think people like working at Three Brothers because we are a family business and we treat you like family.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about you talked some in that story. That is a story of evolution, right? You evolved into a business person and
I'm
focusing on
aspirational,
people. What other, when I think about maybe whether it's technology or some innovation that you feel like has evolved in the bakery since you've kind of taken over the reins to get you to where you are, whether to be more efficient in how you operate, processes. I'm just wondering, where does technology come into play, if at all, and how have you tried to incorporate that?
You want to tell your guys' roll story? This is a long time ago, but this was like the beginning of that.
So we used to make casseroles by hand. And to make a casserole, you literally have to spin it and cut it with your hand. So my dad had like this giant callus, and so did my uncle. And they would make casseroles, and I think I'm the last person to know how to make them.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a salesman who came in the bakery and said, "You know what? I'm going to leave you this equipment. This is a casserole machine." I said, "They'll never use it. They'll never let me use it. And I'm going to give you a rye bread machine. I'm going to give you this former that does, egg rolls and strips and everything." "Okay, but I'm not going to use it. Just keep it here. And if you end up using it in the next 6 months, send me a check." No, I don't.
Those were the days.
Yeah.
So
This was a long time ago.
I got this casserole machine sitting, and my dad goes to Europe to go to Poland to see, where he lived and what's left. And I'm in charge. And my uncle says, "Bobby, come over here to make casseroles with me." And I go, "Uncle Sal, that ain't happening. I got this machine. We're going to use this machine." And my uncle just went crazy on me. "Bobby, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. They're not going to eat. I got that shit." And so he just went crazy. And I pulled the machine out, and we started putting dough in and figuring it out. And the casseroles came out beautiful.
Right.
So that's kind of like, that was the last time we made casseroles by hand. We started doing it on the machine, and the machine was amazing. So my uncle was very happy.
Yeah. Yeah. Learning to get away from the old ways and trust.
So there's always there is some technology, like now with cookies, we don't have to necessarily always draw the graphic. You can print with edible ink. You have, we just bought something called Resiliency. Okay. So you put your formulas in there, and then whoever's doing it can't go forward if it's tied to a scale. Okay. And they can't move to the next step. So it's,
idiot proof.
Kind of, yeah.
Maybe I could use it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's awesome. So you alluded to some things earlier, but I know you've had your challenges along the way. What are some of the things that I think we all learn from mistakes or challenges, usually overcoming them, right? Those lessons we never forget. What are some of the challenges y'all faced that you maybe thought this is going to take us under? And how did you overcome that, and what were the lessons learned?
We have
pick your top two. We don't have all day.
Well, I think no.
Because you're looking at me like the list is long.
Yeah, the list is long. So, and we call ourselves the king and queen of disasters because we never want to be dethroned, because that means you're worse off than us. But we've been through 4 floods, a fire, 2 hurricanes, pandemic, freeze, and derecho.
King and queen of disaster. I love it.
And we
got an award for that.
Yeah, we did.
Did you really?
Not the King and Queen. They called it the Phoenix Award for Small Business Disaster Recovery. It was from the SBA. It was a national award.
We went to Washington.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
And I applied for that. I applied for that because I thought it would give us credibility talking to lawmakers about what small businesses need to recover from these disasters. And I told Steve. I got invited to be on a 4-person virtual panel to brief the Federal Reserve Board of Governors in about a week.
Oh, wow.
Whether it happens or not, I don't know. And it's 3 insurance professionals and me. And they want to know, how do you get through these?
It's good to hear that they maybe at least want to listen to the people that are in the trenches about what are these policies, how do they really play out in real world?
I've gone and met with 3 of them before, and they really listened to us. One of them, we actually had made her kid's birthday cake. All her kid's birthday cakes, I found out. But another one, like I was telling her at the time, the restaurant industry was down 15% nationwide. And there were 2 foodies in that meeting there were 4 of us, 5 of us. And she really honed in on it. She goes, I want to go back to that. I really want to understand.
And when you say that 15% down, you're talking about during the pandemic?
No, this was after.
After. Okay. And so again, I know y'all been through some floods and fires. Kind of, I guess, if you had to say, here are the kind of the top 3 things that we learned when having to deal with that a disaster, if you will.
Number 1, pay your people.
Okay.
Not every small business can do this, but you have to have some cash in the bank, because you can only pay them with cash. You cannot put payroll on a credit card, and you'd be so surprised when people don't know that. So pay your people. Have the best insurance that you can afford. And I used to say with the lowest deductible, because you have a cash crunch when you have a disaster.
Yeah.
But now I say the highest deductible you can afford. And that means, how much can you afford to give up when you have that disaster? So we used to have super low deductibles, but I'm not going to make a claim now because they're going to cancel me at those low deductibles. I used to make claims all the time for stupid stuff,
Right.
But not anymore. And then, what's the other thing? I don't know your lawmakers. I mean, you need to know your lawmakers, because sometimes you need them. Like with Harvey, we could not get, we were approved for the SBA disaster loan like within 3 weeks of Harvey, and couldn't get the money. And so finally, after like almost 2 months, I told the case manager at the SBA, do I need to call my congressman? And he goes, yes. I go, I can't just threaten? And he said, no. I was like, okay. And I had been there. We talked about soybeans with them and stuff. So they knew who we were. And so I picked up the phone and called, and 2 days later we had our money, and I'd do it again a second time.
Wow. Very good. Yeah. So sounds like y'all divided up roles to help kind of focus on your strengths. How is that translated into kind of the actual leadership function in the bakery and with your people? And how would y'all describe your leadership skills? How have they evolved?
That's a big question. Oh my God. So we used to yell at each other all the time. Like when I came, before I was in the bakery, it was the 3 brothers. Someone said that their dad used to bring them every Sunday to get a corn rye and watch the show. What was the show? The 3 brothers, I think it was your dad or his uncle would yell at the customers in English, or they would yell at each other in Polish, and then they would turn around and yell at the customers in English.
Okay.
That's what it was. And so we yelled, right? And
that was the culture.
that was the culture. And then the gentleman that runs the place, his name's Thomas, he had to train us. And so we had to change. And now, since we don't really do anything, and like if we want something, we have to convince him to let us get it. So we really work for him. And I think the people at the bakery think of us more like a mom and dad, or grandma and grandpa, probably. I try to work with some of the women, like if you want to raise, you come practice what you have to say with me. I'll listen to that.
Somewhat of a mentor. Because
I don't give the raise, right. But I can help you what you're going to say.
Yeah. And
I'll encourage them to vote, help them find a reason that voting is important to them. Little things like that.
Well, so I guess your aunt convinced your dad to come to Houston because the streets were covered in gold, laced in gold, whatever. Let's talk about what is it, that decision kind of set the company or the family and the family business on a course to be Houston based. What's it been like, do you think, the advantages of being a Texas-based business or Houston-based business that you've seen based on your own experience in the last 40-something years?
We've seen the ups and the downs in the oil business, and it has affected our business too. We did a lot of business with a lot of oil companies, and so we saw that. But we've continued to kind of drift in this upward momentum, if you will, for the last 70 years. And even when there's really a downturn in the market, people still come to get bread. They still come. We make people happy, we're a happy place. And people like to come to the bakery. And, our selection is, I haven't been able to find a bakery quite as unique as, I don't want to tout, but that has the kind of selection
that we have.
Yeah.
They either make 10 cupcakes or they make 5 croissants and that's it. And they sell some drinks. We're doing Danish and coffee cakes and bread and bagels and rolls and pies and
pastry,
the pecan pie that we have here on the table,
the award-winning pecan pie,
award-winning pecan pie.
And so we're doing a lot of different things, and there's a lot of things going on in the back. In this constant rotation of things to make all these products. So we're a bit inefficient about that, and our labor costs are pretty high. But like I told my GM, you can't really change that. We can sell more stuff, but you can't change that culture. People want to come to the bakery. They want to see this.
Yeah. Well, you've created that expectation, right? So you mean, I guess, full service bakery.
It's called full line retail bakery.
Full what?
Full line retail bakery.
Okay.
But we'll travel and we go to bakeries, and you walk into this bakery and it's 4:00 in the afternoon. And they got 4 cupcakes. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They are like, and I guess, that works for them.
Right.
We donate our day old to those who are hungry. And
that was taught to me by my dad, who, being a Holocaust survivor, being in a camp and being starved to death and watching people die because they didn't get enough to eat. And my dad understood that was very important. So whatever we have left over in bread or rolls, we donate to the homeless.
And is there a particular charity you donate to, or
we do
so much?
Well, right now, Emergency Aid Coalition is kind of like the main one, and then they have a distribution network. And then there's a gentleman named Jay Hamburger, and he's been coming for how many years? 35 years. And he just goes out on the street on Sunday, and he brings them our stuff plus some other stuff. And we went out with him one time. And if you want to have an amazing experience, go out with Jay Hamburger, because yes, it is about feeding people, but it is also about connecting with people.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people think that those who don't have homes are invisible, and they are real people.
Well, they're definitely real people. I happen to be very involved in our homeless response system here in Houston, so I'm very aware of the issue.
Here, let me interview you. What are you doing?
I am been very involved, past chair of the board for Search Homeless Services.
Oh, yeah.
You may know Shelley Cypress. And
I actually started with her.
I'm currently the chair of the board for the Coalition for the Homeless. So I would say they're not invisible. I think people choose not to look at them. And there's a difference. I think people look away. Invisible, you look and see right through and don't see anything. I think people with our homeless population that don't know look and turn away. And for me, there's a difference. Maybe not to you, but for me, that's a difference. I choose not to. But I think we're doing a lot of great things in Houston, and I didn't know y'all were that involved. If you know anyone that
needs anything,
I love hearing that, and absolutely will.
And what do you think? Let me interview you. So what do you think about Mayor Whitmire's, basically a hub? He wants to create a hub with ancillary services.
I'm very aware of all that.
Do you like that? They do it in San Antonio.
it's a
Sort of.
Haven for Hope is different in San
Mhm.
Antonio. The numbers would suggest that it's not very successful. It depends what your goal is.
Mhm.
Our goal here is to actually get people into housing,
Right.
sustainable housing. I think where the city of Houston is trying to go with the super hub is a good start. Here's the biggest problem. There's, as far as I know, as we sit here today, there's no funding for it.
Yeah,
You
well,
can't
that's
do
a
anything
problem.
without funding, and that's a huge problem. So hopefully those in the powers that be and the people that I'm working with, our staff at the coalition, I know is trying, to solve that problem. So, we'll do better. We've been very successful because we work together, city, county. That's part of why the coalition's there, and what we call the Way Home has been very successful. Very proud of it. But to continue to be successful, got to continue working together, and it takes funding. And it's going to take not just government funding, but philanthropic type funding.
Yeah.
And what the terminology that's used that I think makes sense is we want to make homeless rare, brief, and non-reoccurring, right? People will still end up homeless, but we should have a system that gets them into housing,
right,
and then figure out what
lift them up.
figure out what services they need to help them maintain a job, deal with mental health or whatever they may be. Everyone has a different story.
That's so nice to know that about you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I'm very proud of the people that do the job. They get the credit. We have some great people in the city at all those agencies, working in the right direction. So, what a great story y'all have. And, been to the bakery before, but never knew the true story. And it's really inspiring and really cool. And I can tell that, the passion y'all have for it's obvious. So kudos to you. The question I have for Bobby is, what's your favorite thing to make? Bakery, pastry, what is it?
To make or eat?
Make first.
Wow, that's.
You can go by category, I guess.
I mean, I used to be like, when I used to come to the bakery, I had to eat eclair like every day. And that was either an eclair or a chocolate rum ball, were kind of my go-tos that we make. But I've always been a real chocolate person. And I like chocolate. And
but I think on the baking side, you're really more of a bread person. Would you say?
I don't think there's one thing that I just like, oh, I got to make this.
Okay.
I think the bread pudding was probably my favorite thing to make.
Mm-hmm. That was good. Coming up with how to make the pumpkin-apple, that was.
The pumpkin-apple was interesting.
Had to come up with how to make.
Are you still in the back baking?
No, they don't want me to even answer the phone.
Okay.
They don't even want me to, like, when are you going home? What are you doing here for 2.5 hours? What's going on?
Just sit down and talk to the guests.
So they don't want me to like interfere and answer the phone and cause too much problems.
Okay. Well, this has been, again, such a great conversation. Really enjoy it. The last thing I ask my guests and I want to know from y'all is, do you prefer Tex-Mex or barbecue?
Tex-Mex.
Yeah. I love it. I was going to guess y'all were going to answer different. So,
What do y'all like?
Well, it's funny. So I guess I've turned that back around on me. It's a tough one, but I think you have to gauge it off. If I've been out of town, what do I crave when I get back? The answer would be Tex-Mex. But I do enjoy now that some places incorporate barbecue. So like a brisket nachos or brisket tacos. I think you get a little bit of both. There's some places around town doing that. So I'll go with Tex-Mex. So you and I go have Tex-Mex, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
And wait, I have another question.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be ours. What's your favorite baked good, pastry, cake, pie, whatever?
Gosh, that's a good one. So, favorite baked good is a chocolate chip cookie count?
Yeah, we have some. We brought y'all some too.
I love a good chocolate chip cookie. I love pecan pie.
And we ship all over the country.
And I'll say this. I do like good bread. I just don't eat a lot of it these days. So
Yeah, I get that. I
but-
didn't eat bread for a while, but now I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back at it. And,
Maybe I'll have a second renaissance on bread.
do you eat gingerbread now?
Oh yeah.
Let's try
Okay.
one.
All right.
You need to take the bite.
I know that. Can you,
My girls will love those too.
I don't know. Everyone.
There we go.
Can't afford that nail.
That's right.
No,
All right, here we
he's
go.
all. He kind of ran.
I'm going to have a gingerbread cookie, and we are going to close this out.
Mackenzie.
All right. Janice, Bobby, thank you for being on Building Texas Business. And that's it. Thank y'all. That's it for this episode of Building Texas Business. Don't forget to check out the show notes at BoyerMiller.com/podcast for insights and resources from today's conversation. Learn more about how Boyer Miller can help your business grow at BoyerMiller.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.